Okay, once you've located a ruler and a pencil and your charcoal paper, you're going to make a 1.5 inch grid on all four sides. Your 1.5 inch grid can be measured by placing your ruler at the top edge of your charcoal paper and making a mark at the 1.5 inch uh, as you go across each side. Okay, this short side of the paper is 12 inches. Um, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have that lined up. Hold the ruler still, and I'm going to make a mark it in 1.5 inches. Okay, the 1.5 inches, try to zoom in for you, is halfway between the 1 and the 2. Okay, right there. That line is the 1.5 inch line. Okay, 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3. So that's my next mark. 3 plus 1.5 is 4.5. 1.5 after that is 6. 6 plus 1.5 is 7.5. My next mark will be at 9. 10.5, and then I'm at the edge of my paper. Okay, so that side looks even. If you have a post-it note and you don't have a ruler, you can use a post-it note to make your marks, but a post-it note is 3 inches across. So if you're here and you fold a post-it note in half, you can use that as kind of a guideline. I know it's kind of bright, but you can see that that's exactly the dimension we're going for. It just so happens that if you fold a post-it note in half, that's a good way to measure. Okay, we're looking for 1.5 inches. Okay, here I go again on the long side. I'm going to go ahead and make my marks. 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, 10.5, 12, 13.5. Okay, and I rotate. If you need to see that again, you can stop and back up the video and re-watch it. I'm here at 1.5 again. 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, 10.5. Okay. Some of you guys ask me, what happens if the paper's a little bit longer or a little bit shorter? You just kind of split the difference. If you can tell, my ruler's just kind of centered and I'm just eating up the extra, sliver of space on both sides. Okay. I'm going to do my last side and make my marks. 6, 7.5, 9, 10.5. Oops, hold that ruler still. 12, 13.5. Okay, now I get to connect my dots. I'm going to make sure my ruler is lined up perfectly on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and flip this so you guys can see it a little bit easier. Right here and here. Okay, I hold that ruler firm. I want you to hold the back of your pencil and just drag a very light line across. Okay, if you can barely see that, that's because I just want a line that's dark enough that I can see where my grid line is, but I won't have any problems erasing it down the line. It's important to not press hard because you don't want to leave that like really dark grid line after you're finished your sketch. You're going to erase it and you'll leave that imprint in the paper. You'll see the smudge, the eraser gets all cruddy. You want just light lines going across. Okay, so I'm carefully dragging the pencil across, like just the gravity of the pencil itself. I make all my lines going across one way, and then I'm going to flip my paper and I'm going to have all my lines headed across the opposite way. My grid squares 1.5 inch should look perfect. I'm looking for that perfect 1.5 inch grid square that's got like right angles, nicely measured. Hopefully you guys can see some of those coming in. Hold that ruler still. Use the back of your pencil. And there you are. Okay. Your entire paper should be nice and square like so. Once you've done this, you're ready to start your drawing as soon as you have your resource and your grid there, and you've got the same number of rows and columns, 8 in this case, and then going across we have 10 long ways, 10 going across this way. They should match. Okay, very good. Give it a shot. You can do